whether or not the voting age should be lowered. Over here at the opposition, we have Ruth Gillihan, Evan Haggerty, Emily Collagen, and Danielle Catalano. Over here at the proposition, we have Nicholas Burley, Ethan Stearman, and Colin Joyce. Thank you. Nicholas Burley will be going up first.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Grilly. I am on the proposition, and restating the topic, we are debating should the voting age be lowered from 18 down to an age such as 16. To start off, a brief history of why the voting age is what it is today. According to a short passage on tedkennedy.org, the voting age is what it is today because some U.S. senators during the Vietnam War in 1971 thought that it was unfair that 18-year-olds could join the army but could not vote. So they lowered the voting age after some debates and government things. So, not at this moment. My first point is that the voting age, as I just stated, was already lowered from 21 to 18, so it would be fine for it to be lowered again, as well as the fact that you cannot bring the voting age back up once you have lowered it. Voting is a privilege or a right that should be taken seriously, and we think that the majority of 16-year-olds or 17-year-olds in the U.S. could handle such a responsibility. Not at this moment. Voting is serious, but much less serious than dropping out of school, paying taxes, or driving, all done at the age of 16. So voting is a responsible thing, but it's not as important, possibly life-taking as some of those. Not at this moment, not at this moment, not at this moment. We think that in educational terms, it would boost responsibility and mental maturity at a younger than adult age in terms of education. Another point is that approximately 8 countries have already lowered their voting age to an age such as 16. Examples being Austria, Nicaragua, Brazil, Ecuador, Hungary, Slovenia, Norway, etc. Not at this moment. Yes?
You said that 8 countries have changed it down to 16. But there's more than 100 countries in the world. That's nothing, and you haven't said that it's starting to, more countries are starting to do it. Only 8 countries are.
It is not at this moment. We have read articles in some sites, such as thewashingtonpost.com, saying that other states and countries, especially such as the UK, have already done this. To wrap up my points, the voting age was already lowered from 21 to 18, and it could be lowered again. Voting is a privilege or a right. Voting is serious, but less serious than driving, dropping out of school, or paying taxes, and already 8 countries have done it. It would also have some educational benefits. I am Nicholas Grilly for the proposition, and the proposition has won this debate.
Next up, Danielle Catalano from the opposition will be going up.
I am Danielle Catalano, and I'm debating for the opposition team that the voting age should not be lowered. My first point is that kids don't know what they're doing. They might not have learned about it yet in school, so it could be new to them. They don't know what is coming for them, that the choice they make is going to be for them for the next 4 years, not at this moment. The students, and I'm not saying kids of 14 or 15, I'm saying 16-year-olds, they may not really care. They won't care, hey, the candidate just said, I'm going to put skate parks all over the U.S., but because he said that they pick them, that might not be the best choice for everybody except them. Who or what will be deciding? Will it be their iPhones and they will be scrolling down the list? Yes.
You say that like smartphones or iPhones would decide, but really that's not all that matters. If they are voting, they know that the presidential candidate is who they want, and they've researched, and most of them, we think, could handle a type of responsibility such as voting. and you're saying that their iPhones or smartphones would decide, but I would say that, they would have most of their own decision if they're actually interested in voting.
Well, I'm not saying they're going to take their iPhones and they're going to put their iPhones out and let their iPhones decide. They're going to go on their iPhone, search the internet, search some facts that the candidate might have said or heard them say on TV, and they're going to go against, towards what they have. They will choose unprepared candidates. The candidate might not be the best. It might sound great to them, but it might not be great for the others. They will misunderstand it with school elections. If a school election, you're only choosing a student for about 2, maybe 3 months, as opposed to picking a candidate which would be 4 years, maybe even more. So to wrap up my point, kids don't know what they're doing. They might mix it up with school elections. Who or what will be deciding? And they don't really care. Because of what I have said, the opposition team has won this debate.
Next up, Ethan Stearman will be going on.
Hello, my name is Ethan Stearman and I'm for the proposition team. To remind you of the debate topic, we are debating that the voting age should be lowered to around 16. Some say that it gets kids or teenagers interested in politics early, and then they know more in life how to vote for the right president. Some say that the voting age at 18 right now is a very bad age, not at this moment, because they're moving out of homes, they're moving to a new town. Not at this moment, yes.
You said that they're moving out of their town and going to colleges. What if they can't go to college, or if the college is in their town or very close to their town? They won't be going through the same stress.
Yes, but they're not on their own. So sometimes 16-year-olds aren't able to drive, and they might have to get their parents to drive them to vote. Yes.
What does driving have to do with the situation of getting the voting age to be lowered or not?
Because if you get to vote, it's not like you vote at your house. You vote somewhere like a town hall. Therefore, you need to drive to the town hall, or you can walk. Not at this moment. In Tacoma Park, Maryland, they've already lowered the voting age to 16. They did this because there was an election and a voting, and they voted it yes. Yes.
Even though the place in Maryland said it was yes, that might not be the best choice for this. They might have a different population for us. It might be easier with a different result than we would have here. So just because some place in Maryland had it doesn't mean it's always the best for every single place.
Well, if kids were already interested in politics and they wanted to vote and they were thinking of making it legal in their own town at 16, then they could do that like Tacoma Park, Maryland did. Not at this moment. To wrap up my points, it will get 16-year-olds interested in politics into politics. That the voting age at 18 is really bad because children are moving out of their own houses. And Tacoma Park, Maryland has already lowered their voting age to 16.
Next up, from the opposition, Emily Collagen will be going up.
I am Emily Collagen, and I am on the opposition team. These are some points from debatewise.com. Teens today are ignorant and not mature in their own choices. They are not mature enough to make decisions on who our president will be for 4 years. It's not like, as Danielle said, a school election where they could get kicked off the job like that if they are not doing good enough. Next, they will choose what their parents want them to choose for. They will vote for what their parents want and not what they want. So therefore, not at this moment. Therefore, they will not learn how to make their own choices in life. The other occasion that may happen is that they will choose what is cool. And sometimes what is cool is not the best for our country. As Danielle said, they may not understand the concept. They may not know how they need to vote. And yes. So another thing is, if they're not old enough to fight for their country, they shouldn't be able to vote for it. 18 is the age where they can choose to go in the military and fight for our country. And if they're not old enough for that, then they shouldn't be able to vote. My last point is 18 is the age where parents can stop financially supporting their children. So it is a good age to introduce voting. Because of what I had said, the opposition has won this debate.
Next up, Colin, Norris, Joyce will be going on.
Hello, my name is Colin Norris Joyce, and I'm for the proposition team. As my other teammates have said, the voting age has already been lowered. It could be an ideal advantage for teenagers to actually get involved in their community with voting. And if 16-year-olds can pay taxes, why can't they choose who they want their taxes to go to? Yes.
If they got involved in their community, then that would relate to Emily's point about peer pressure, because most of the people in the community who they're getting involved with might vote for a bad person.
Not all teenagers will always agree with what their friends say. I mean, even though they might be swayed by what their friends think as well, they always have their own opinions, and they can choose what they want or what they don't want. Now for my points. 3 Massachusetts senators already support the idea for 16 to be the new voting age. And so at least our home state can benefit from this.
Roll call to the office for dismissal, please.
It is 16-year-olds pay taxes, so why not let them vote? And sorry. If 18-year-olds are
Janet Tatro for dismissal, please. Janet Tatro.
And if 18-year-olds are also going to college and having their life disrupted by what can happen at this age, this might interfere with their voting, whether they can get mixed up in other things. But at 16, 16-year-olds will be more focused, they will be more on topic, and they will pay attention more. Yes.
You said that it's messed up when they're like 18, like there's a lot going on, but when you're 16, you have big tests, exams, and you learn how to drive. There's also a lot of things when you're 16.
Well, by then you might already know how to drive, and I don't think tests will really interfere with this. Not at this moment for both of you. So, to wrap up my points, 16-year-olds pay taxes.
Jillian 12, you're in the building. Report to the main office, please. Jillian 12.
16-year-olds pay taxes, so why can't they vote? 3 Massachusetts senators already support this idea, so it can benefit our home state. And 18 is a very bad age due to all the messed up things going on in their life. Once again, I'm Colin, Norris, Joyce. I stand for the proposition team, and for these reasons, the proposition has won this debate.
Next up, Evan Haggerty will be going up.
I'm Evan Haggerty, and I'm on the proposition team. Some of our other points was that you get mixed up with your friends, and that you go with your parents' ideas. Some of my points are, opposition team, not for proposition team, not this moment. Some of my points are that there's no success in lowering the ages because in California, they've tried lowering ages, but they've had no success. People have voted no against it. Also, you can't really try it out because say you have 16-year-olds, half of 16-year-olds in one high school, and half of them get picked to do it, and half of them don't. Half of them will be angry about it, and then if you actually do it in a real election, then that's going to be your leader for the next 4 years, not at this moment and not at this moment. Also, it's another responsibility. When you're 16, you have big tests, you're trying to get into college, you have big MCAS tests and other big tests like that, and also, not at this moment, and you're learning to drive. So it would be harder than just going to college. And they're too easily swayed. Say a candidate says, I'll make comic books free, or I'll put cars half price for kids for 16-year-olds in high school. And then they'll automatically vote for that, but they're not focusing on the big problems like debt and new laws and better school systems and things like that. Some of my points, to wrap it up, some of my points are there's no success in lowering ages, you can't try it out, it's another responsibility, and they're too easily swayed to vote for someone. I'm Evan Haggerty, I'm on the opposition team, and this is why the opposition team have won this debate.
Next up, returning to the center will be Colin, Norris, Joyce.
Now I will be wrapping up my entire team's points. 1. Voting is a privilege, not a right. So either way, 16-year-olds don't really even have to vote if they don't want to, and if they abuse it, they can be taken away from them. If they can pay taxes, if they can drive, if they can do all of these things and more, then why can't they vote? Yes.
If you tell a child or a 16-year-old, yes, you can vote, you can't stop in the middle of the process. If you can't hire the age after you lower it, then you can't tell somebody, okay, you can do it, but then a month later, okay, you can't anymore.
That's not what I'm saying. You don't necessarily have to vote. Teenagers, even 18-year-olds, even adults can choose whether or not they want to go to the polls that day to vote for somebody. They can boost responsibilities in many ways. It can educate younger people in the government and how the system works. And 18 is a very, very bad age for 18 is a very bad age due to all these life changes. While at 16, you only have a few, such as driving and maybe tests. Yes.
When you're 16, you still have a lot of responsibilities, such as maybe getting your future ready, because you're almost at your last year of high school, if not already there. You have many responsibilities, getting the driving test passed, getting a bunch of other tests. So you do have a lot of responsibilities that you have to care for, and it's not just having to worry about voting.
They do, but also at 18, as I've neglected to mention, you are really in a struggle to find a new home since, like, like Ethan, my teammate, has said, it's 18 is just really a bad age due to moving to college, going to a new home. All of those things contribute to the fact of whether or not they will be able to pay attention. Not at this moment, yes.
Well, if the age was lowered, you're saying that 18 is a bad age, but if the age was lowered, then that won't stop 18-year-olds from voting.
Exactly. We're not trying to stop 18-year-olds from voting. We're just saying that we can expand it down to the younger community instead of keeping it up. I mean, 16-year-olds really are waiting for things such as driving. Well, younger kids are looking forward to such things as driving. But if you get to 16, you're looking to things like college and voting and all of these other things. So either way, they would still be paying just as much attention. For these reasons and more, this team has won this debate.
Next up, to finish off the opposition, is Ruth Gillahan.
Hi, I'm Ruth Gillahan, and I am for the opposition team. My first point is that teenagers are unexperienced and they're constantly changing their minds. After they vote, then they might regret their decision afterwards. Yes.
That may have something to do with the topic, but regretting their decision, oh well, they voted. If they have voted, that could be a problem with anyone. There are plenty of other people besides just younger teenagers that have a problem with, like, oh, I did this and now I regret it. Because if they have decided that they can't, that they don't like who they voted for, so be it. But it's not too big of a point.
But teenagers are changing their minds more often than adults. My second point is that teenagers don't know what's best for the country and for others and themselves. They'll make our law system worse. And they're too easily persuaded, like Evan said. And if some teens do prove that they're mature enough, yes, some teens are mature enough, but that does not prove that all teenagers are mature enough. So I am going to wrap up everybody's point and mine to prove that we did win this debate. So my point is that teenagers are unexperienced, and next, there's peer and adult pressure. Their smartphones decide for them. They could mix it up with school elections. Next, they're ignorant teenagers. They're not mature enough, and their high school responsibilities. Voting will pile on. Thank you.
I just want to thank everyone for attending the Frederick W. Hornet Middle School debate. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Matthew Coppolino, and this is Ethan Fowler. Hi. And we just want to congratulate everyone who could make it to this debate today. And this was a very tough decision because we feel that both sides were very competitive and had lots of reasons why. And I think maybe Ethan might want to say something.
I will say. Want me to say the final answer? Okay, so After evaluating both teams and all teammates individually, one-on-one, and after seeing you both going to debate professionally, I would like to congratulate and Matthew can take it from now.
I'm sorry, this was a very tough decision between both teams. Excuse me for 1 second.
It's like American Idol. Yeah, I know.
But we think that the opposition has won this debate. They were very good with restating their facts and also their beginnings, but the proposition was extremely well with first coming in. But the only thing is that they didn't speak up a little loud enough, and they need to end it on a bang. They ended it too subtle. Excuse me. And I believe that they could have done maybe a bit better. As in the proposition, they did not come in very well, but it was their clear speaking, kind of somewhat slowing down at their words from the first meetings that we thought was a big improvement. And also they were very good with we also judged on how much you communicated. We saw them taking a lot of notes. You guys over here, you did take some notes, but we are judging somewhat on communication, and we believe that the opposition did a very nice job, and they ended it very well. Not so much to the beginning, but I think that what sold it was the cooperation in total. I just want to thank everyone also. Thank you.